Hello, my name is Kayleen Reusser. I'm the author of 10 books on World War II veterans, including the 260 vets that I have interviewed. I'm going to start a series of reading stories from my books and putting them on YouTube. I hope that you will like and subscribe and share them. Today's story will be about Hershel Woody Williams, who just recently passed away. He was the last living World War II Medal of Honor recipient. He is featured in my book, We Defended Freedom. In fact, his story is right here. His picture is right here, and I'll go ahead and start reading for you. I do believe that we live in the greatest country in the world, and we have some of the greatest fighting force available to us to defend our freedom. So thank you to all vets watching this. I am a proud Air Force wife and mother. Hershel Woody Williams. Smoke curled from a small opening at the top of the underground bunker. Corporal Hershel Woody Williams crawled toward the pillbox, trying not to cough, as black volcanic ash coated his tongue and burned his eyes. A long-ago eruption on the island of Iwo Jima had caused the noxious element covering the island's surface. Upon landing at Iwo Jima on February 20th, 1944, the day after the battle began, Williams and other Marines of the 1st Battalion, 21st Marine Regiment, 3rd Marine Division had discovered Japanese forces living in underground reinforced concrete bunkers. The hole Williams spied was a vent, probably for cooking. He judged it the right size for his flamethrower's nozzle. The goal of the Marines' invasion at Iwo Jima was to force the Japanese from the island, primarily for the Allies to gain use of the airfield. The B-29s needed a place to refuel before proceeding 600 miles to bombing missions in Japan. The plan had been simple. After landing, the Marines would charge up the center, pushing the enemy to the right and left. But moving through the black ash covering the island that measured 2 miles wide and 5 miles long had proved surprisingly difficult, like running on BB pellets. Due to Allied bombing of the island in days leading up to the invasion, the surface looked like the moon with only shell craters for protection. Williams and the other Marines refused to give up. In his hometown of Quiet Dell, West Virginia, Hershel, who gained the nickname of Woody, had been taught to believe in God, patriotism, and honoring one's country. He didn't like killing. Still, he knew the ferocity of the Japanese attack at Pearl Harbor and in other countries, including China, Indonesia, and the Philippines, on and around December 7, 1941, warranted a response that would vanquish the enemy, which had killed millions of people. The goal of annihilating the enemy became paramount to Williams when his division of 278 Marines hit the beaches of Iwo Jima. By March 6th, a mere 2 weeks, only 17 men from his company remained. All of the officers had been killed or wounded. The Allies were caught in a quagmire with no seeming possibility of advancement. Williams' duties had consisted of keeping a demolition man and flamethrower supplied with ammo. But like every other Marine, he was trained to accept any job asked of him. So when his commanding officer asked Williams if he could carry the flamethrower to knock out the remaining pillboxes, the young man agreed to try. Williams' slight body shook as other Marines attached the 70-pound weapon to his back. The flamethrower consisted of 2 fuel tanks that used a high-octane gas and diesel fuel mix to give heat and bonding. Combined with a compressed air tank, the weapon, when fired, produced a rolling golden flame that spewed up to 30 feet. The deadly flame burned oxygen from the air, forcing human lungs to collapse. Although not adept at using a flamethrower, Williams knew the armament could be dangerous to the shooter, especially in a headwind. Also upon firing, the shooter's location became known to the enemy. It was reassuring to know 2 Marines carrying Browning automatic rifles and 2 regular riflemen would be assigned to him for protection. Williams began his advancement by taking care of the pillbox through its vent. Then he lowered himself into a trench between 2 pillboxes. He froze when an enemy soldier fired, bullets ricocheting off of his weapon like bullets in an Old West film. Williams fired at the shooter before turning to see 5 Japanese soldiers with fixed bayonets charging at him. More scared than he had ever been in his life, Williams relied on training from boot camp, firing at the group until they collapsed. During the next 4 hours, Williams used 6 flamethrowers to eliminate 7 pillboxes and many enemy troops. His life was endangered many times, but Williams pressed on. His persistence created an opening for the Marines to advance. Shortly after the battle concluded on March 26, 1945, Woody returned to the United States. On October 3, 1945, President Harry S. Truman presented him with the highest award for bravery, valiant devotion to duty, and service above self that can be given to any individual in the United States, the Medal of Honor. The deed with the flamethrowers at Iwo Jima prompting the award had been viewed by at least 2 witnesses as required. The actions must distinguish the recipient's gallantry beyond the call of duty while involving the risk of life. Williams received the medal on the White House lawn with his mother and girlfriend in attendance. After the ceremony, Marine Commandant Alexander Vandegrift, also a World War II Medal of Honor recipient at Iwo Jima, called Williams to his office to congratulate and admonish the 22-year-old. His words were some Williams never forgot. "He told me the medal didn't belong to me," said Williams. "It belonged to the Marines who didn't come home. He advised me never to do anything to tarnish that memory. I've done everything I could to follow through." Woody Williams, who is the last remaining World War II Medal of Honor recipient, felt undeserving of the medal, especially as 2 of his 4 protectors had been killed at Iwo Jima, Corporal Warren H. Bornholtz and Private First Class Charles G. Fisher. Another soldier's death left an impact on Williams. Leonard Brown was a childhood friend from West Virginia who for years had walked to school with Williams. Brown had loved planes and enlisted in the Army Air Corps. Sadly, his flight cruise plane crashed in the Philippines. The body of Leonard Brown, 23, was never found. Williams grieved the loss of his friend, yet he knew Leonard's loved ones missed him even more. In 2013, with the help of family and friends, he used the Hershel Woody Williams Medal of Honor Foundation to establish the first Gold Star Families Memorial Monument. It is a way to honor the sacrifices made by families who gave their sons or daughters lost in the armed forces of the United States for our freedom, said Williams. Most of Leonard's family is gone, but think what it would have meant to them if this had been done in 1946. In 2015, Williams received unexpected good news about his friend Leonard Brown. Williams learned that Brown had been injured when the nose of his B-24 Liberator was hit by anti-aircraft fire over Japan. Although rescued, Brown died of injuries 5 days later. He was buried in an American cemetery in the Philippines until 1949, when his body was returned to Fairmont, West Virginia, for burial. Fortified with the news of his friend's last days and final resting place, Williams is at peace, but it doesn't lessen his goal of constructing one Gold Star Families Memorial Monument in each state. Currently, the organization has 70. "I'm not a hero," said Woody Williams. "I was just doing a job. The hero is the guy who gave his life. He can't do any more than that." So that's my story about Hershel Woody Williams. This is in my book, We Defended Freedom. This is his picture on the cover here, along with some other World War II Veterans, and you can find more information about Woody's Foundation in my show notes. I will also have information there about the title of the book and the website where I post stories weekly at my blog about World War II veterans. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that this will strengthen your patriotism. We live in a great country. Thanks to all of our vets for serving.